Welcome to Fresh Start with Jason Cline.
Welcome to the Fresh Start podcast with Attorney Jason Cline, founder of the Law Office of Jason Cline in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, Jason helps individuals and families across New Mexico find clarity and confidence through Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy solutions. I'm Evan Mack, and today we're talking about what life really looks like after bankruptcy and how to protect that fresh start once you've earned it. Jason, good to see you, brother.
Oh, good to see you, Evan.
So Jason, let's get down to it. After someone's case is discharged, what's the first thing you usually tell them to focus on?
Well, the first thing to focus on is kind of learning the difference between wants and needs. We do need to get credit rebuilt, so I do recommend going out and getting a secured credit card. So you put your own money up against the card. However much you put against it becomes your credit limit. So say you put $500 against it, you get a $500 credit limit. You buy your gas and groceries with that, and you pay it off every single month to just start helping to rebuild. Now, what you're buying there are your needs, your gas and your groceries, and that's really just to rebuild credit. So you don't really want to be using credit off the bat for the wants right now, because that's where the slippery slope starts. So the big screen TVs, probably not a need at the moment. However, the gas and the groceries are.
How soon can someone start rebuilding their credit? What are the best first steps to take? Is it what you were saying, or is it a little bit more nuanced than that?
It really is what I was saying there. Upon discharge in a Chapter 7 case, I say pretty immediately go out there and get that secured credit card. In a Chapter 13 case, in New Mexico, it's allowable to get debts under $1,000 while you're in the bankruptcy case. So I generally recommend to go ahead and get that secured credit card while you're still in your payment plan, just to start rebuilding that credit. Other things, if you're in need of a new vehicle, vehicle loans are easy to get. However, you will pay a high interest rate, so it's really on a need basis there on if you need that vehicle. It's a great way to rebuild the credit, but you're going to have to refinance out of that loan or pay a lot of interest on it later on.
Are there certain habits or patterns you encourage people to change so they don't end up, doing the same thing all over again?
I mean, again, that goes back to the wants and the needs. Really need to figure out that if it's a want, is it something that you can save for over time and then purchase with cash? Do you need it right now? Does it have to be on credit? If it is on credit and you're getting it on one of those interest-free deals, can you pay it off on time to get the interest-free? Those are the habits that you need to look at before purchasing anything that's going to be a want after filing.
So, Jason, what does a realistic budget look like in the first year after bankruptcy? What should people be planning for?
So people need to be planning for paying for things with the money they have. So the money they've got in the bank account that they're working for, and also allowing them to put some into savings. So they need to budget accordingly. Look at what the food costs are. They're astronomical right now. So how can you save some in those areas and see what you realistically need every single month? So those bills that you just can't get rid of, your utilities, your mortgage, your rent, your car payment and insurances, those things have to be paid. Got to pay for food, got to pay for medication. So all of those things need to be looked at in your budget before you start thinking about going out and buying that ATV, or, as I said before, the big screen TV, or taking a big luxurious vacation. So that first year is very important, that you just learn how to make your budget right.
How can someone tell if a credit offer they get after bankruptcy is legitimate versus maybe predatory?
So that gets harder and harder these days, actually. Yeah. A lot of the predatory ones do look very legitimate now, but look at things like the small print on it. Make sure that if it's a bank, that they're FDIC insured, then it says it on the letter or the email that they receive. You need to make sure that the email or the letter looks right, like it was printed from somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. And when it really comes down to it, as much as I don't like it when people keep going to the AI to listen to bankruptcy advice. AI can actually tell you a lot about whether these are legitimate offers or predatory offers. You can take a picture of it and pop it into there, and it can really tell you a lot. So I do actually recommend it there.
Some people are nervous, about financing anything after this situation, but how do you help them balance rebuilding credit without, overextending themselves?
Having some nervousness over it is probably a good thing. That makes you stop and think. Like I said, the secured credit card, that's my biggest piece of advice there, because you're using your own money to secure that card. And that way you feel more like you've put something into it. So by doing that, it starts to rebuild your credit. Now, doing the luxury purchases on credit probably shouldn't do it. If you do get a really good deal with an interest-free, you need to make sure that you can make those payments and pay it off in the time being. But I think the nerves are actually a good thing, because you're going to be aware of what you're taking out at that time.
So, Jason, what kind of mistakes do you see people make after this discharge that can undo some of the progress that they've made?
The creditors kind of skew this one into their favor. So your mailbox, your email box are going to fill with offers for credit after the filing of a bankruptcy. Creditors actually mine bankruptcy data off of PACER, which is the electronic filing and records keeping system. So creditors find out you file for bankruptcy and you got your discharge order, so you cannot file another Chapter 7 for 8 years. So they just start offering credit, lots of it. And people fall into taking that credit and then using that credit. And before they know it, they've got another $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 worth of debt just because they took every offer that they got. So you got to be careful about those ones that are coming to you. A lot of those are going to be more predatory than legitimate, and it can get you in a lot of trouble.
So for clients who had to give up property on a vehicle or vehicle, how do you help them rebuild their confidence and stability after that loss?
With the vehicle situation, as I was saying earlier, it's actually very easy to get a vehicle loan after filing. So on that kind of a situation, if they didn't have another vehicle already, I do say go out and get that vehicle loan. Get a car that you do want. Now, I'm not saying go get a Lamborghini or something, but get something that you actually want to drive around and keep for a while and pay off. So that'll start helping rebuild the credit and rebuild your confidence some, because you got that nice car. Now, when you start losing other property and such, you really just got to take that as a learning lesson that maybe those were not needs when you got them in the first place if you couldn't keep them through a bankruptcy.
When people finally reach that point where they feel back on their feet, what do you want them to remember about maintaining that financial peace long term?
I think they need to remember how they felt before they filed for the bankruptcy. Because by the time most people have come to visit me, the stress is overwhelming. So they are at one of the lowest lows that they have felt in their life. So to remember that, because the bankruptcy gives you that full stress relief and get you back on your feet, but you don't want to be there again. So just always try to keep that in mind. Even though you're financially stable again, you don't want to get back in that situation.
Good stuff. Jason, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you, Evan.
All right, that's it for today's episode of the Fresh Start Podcast. To learn more about Attorney Jason Cline and how he can help you navigate bankruptcy with confidence, visit attorneyjasoncline.com. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to leave a review, and subscribe to the show so you do not miss the next episode. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.